Om Purnamataha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatihitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatihitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adoration to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Nirvana Prakarana Purvārdha, section 54 continues. The essence of Bhagavad Gita is being presented by Vasistha to Sri Rama. That's the context. The main purpose of the scripture is to promote enlightenment in every individual, every aspirant. And the wisdom that leads to enlightenment is the wisdom, is the essence of all religions and all teachings. So therefore, in history line, one shouldn't get confused. Krishna came much later, and he taught the Gita, and Vasistha picked it up. I'm joking, but that. We go into the philosophy. That which is non-existent cannot become real. It's always Asat. Asato ma sadgamaya. From Asat lead us to the Sat. Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya. From darkness to light. Mrityor ma amritam gamaya. From death to immortality. These are profound prayers. And it needs to have subtle intellect to understand the difference between Sat and Asat. You watch the cinema show. Sat is the screen. Asat is all the projections that create the drama. The projections are superimposed upon the screen, like snake on the rope. And the screen reality is eternal, absolute. So that which is non-existent cannot be real, cannot become real. That which is real cannot cease to be. All you are experiencing through your brain and nervous system, and your brain is your iPad. All you are experiencing through your brain is the workings of your conditioned mind, unenlightened mind. And all that you are experiencing, all that you are remembering of your past, your expectations of future, what you think yourself to be, what are the dreams of your future. All this is in the realm of Asat, because whatever you gain, you can't retain your brain all the time. All experiences are like a dream. In dream, nothing is real. This world process is like a long dream. This understanding has to enter, not by simple intellectual grasp, by an intuitional movement. So there's a big difference. And therefore the message is, the more you listen to the highest truths, greater is your need to pursue the path of integral yoga. The message is that turn your life as a stream flowing towards the ocean of enlightenment. And that will happen if 4 strings of your personality are in melodious accord. And that happens if you pursue the path of yoga. If your action becomes karma yoga, your emotion bhakti yoga, your will dhyana yoga, your reasoning jnana yoga. So yoga must enter in your daily life in a dynamic and effective way. Then only you can get out of the clutches of the conditioned mind. Otherwise, you stay with your iPad, and that's bad. It is a limited mind that holds the concept of the reality of the world and the unreality of the self. Conditioned mind that is unenlightened, that gives reality to what you are experiencing based on triad, seer, seen, and sight. But that type of reality is apparent reality, like a dream. When the erroneous concept is renounced by the force of wisdom, the self is realized as the only reality. When you come to understand that experience of triad, experience of time, space, causation, seer, seen, and sight, that experience is like reflections. Reflections go on changing, but the lake, allegorical language, here better to use the terms Chaitanya, your consciousness. Pure consciousness is like that vast mystic lake that never changes. All your relative awareness is enfolded by absolute awareness. All reflections of the sun and all illuminations are enfolded by the sun. You have to understand the allegorical language. Though the self illumines the movements of the mind during our experiences of pleasure and pain in the world, it is untouched by the world. The sun creates all the illuminations, and the illuminations illumine so many things. But turning your gaze to the sun, sun does nothing. Sun is all absolute illumination, but is not illumining anything because nothing is there other than the sun. The self does not rejoice during prosperity. Now to understand practice manana, reflection, to see the difference between self and not self. It's a not self aspect of your personality. The personality that's based upon erroneous vision of who am I. From that personality point of view, you live in a world that is presenting variations of experiences, especially prosperity, adversity, gain, loss, pleasure, pain, positive, negative. And soul becomes apparently, because soul is so identified with the mind, that as if you are experiencing deep down in your soul, but soul is absolutely unchanging, untouched. But that's what you have to discover and realize, that what changes is not the soul, not real you, but things that go on giving you experience of pleasure and pain, joy and sorrow, birth and death. They are experiences brought about by conditioned mind. It is the unenlightened citta that continues to superimpose its limitations on the infinite self. Just like when you dream, the dream experience is by your unenlightened citta. It is your subconscious process, which is not real. And while dreaming, everything seems real. You suffer if your car breaks down. You suffer. You yourself fall, and so forth. But while you are suffering, the deeper you is ever the same. In poor light, a harmless rope may appear to be a snake. Just as the illusion of that snake in the rope is destroyed by light, so the illusion of individuality is broken with the rise of wisdom. Wisdom consists in realizing that this universe is nothing but Brahman. Wisdom is complete awakening state. The entire experience through the iPad is not real. It may be entertaining. You may sit with your computer and watch big show, enjoy the flights of birds and diving of fishes and sharks. You can enjoy birds diving into the ocean. But you are just completely experiencing things that are not real, not a needle point of it. Similarly, all the drama that the mind has created, immense past, unlimited future, countless data, all that is unreal. The reality, aham brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Nothing is born, nothing dies, nothing grows, nothing decays. Brahman is the only reality in the three periods of time, past, present, and future. O Arjuna, just as waves rise and fall in the vast ocean, so all beings rise and fall in the great ocean of Brahman. You are essentially that Brahman. You are devoid of all changes, limitations, and modifications. They are not ordinary changes that you see. Then you see special changes, caterpillars turning into butterfly. You see transformations. All these you experience, but all these are illusions, the work of Maya. Focusing on the Maya aspect, how many things that you experience which are just illusion. Time. See, time is so important in daily life. Also, you must remember that the more you hear about the illusoriness of the world, greater should be your focus on practicing integral yoga. When you practice yoga in daily life, then all the practical realities have to be pursued in a right way. You can't sleep on in the night and in the morning. The world is illusion. No more tea, no more coffee. Not so. Your practical life requires punctuality, promptness, skill, and the more you understand about the illusion of the world, greater is your punctuality, greater is your skill in handling your responsibilities. This we have to understand. If thinking of illusion of the world is upsetting your skill, you are not understanding the illusion. You are just keeping a verbal concept, which is another burden. The entire stretch of time has no reality. How do you know it? In deep sleeps, time goes away. You don't miss it. But constantly come back from that state. But nature goes on reminding you day by day that you are timeless. But that state is experienced by intuitional knowledge. Your integration must come to fulfillment. Activity, all actions that you pursue, time, space, causation, I-ness, ahamata, mindness, mamata, and all your experiences relating to the world are, as it were, soldiers under the control of the divine emperor, Brahman. Think of the sun as the divine emperor. And all reflections and illuminations are under the control of that sun. Allegorical language. Every bit of your awareness even a tiny awareness of a flea jumping on your nose, as well as the awareness that is vast, profound, all types of awareness are like soldiers performing various functions. But the ruler behind all these soldiers, all illuminations, is Brahman himself. Therefore, Arjuna, renounce pride. These are the now important points. If you are pursuing the path that reveals the unreality of the world and reality of Brahman, then these points have to be followed in your daily life. You have to understand the difference between normal ego, sattvic ego, and inflated pride. Sattvic ego, again, sattvic ego also has limitations. If you are immature, your sattvic ego behaves like Vibhishana under Ravana and Kumbhakarna, under demoniac rule. Sattvic ego, sattva in your ego, makes you interested in so many things. Just take the example of the kitchen, and you enjoy tasty food as well as nutritious food. But then your mind goes after countless recipes. Then they go after countless sources from where those foods are available. So that's sattvic ego that is not advanced. But sattvic ego, when emerges out of rajas and tamas and dominates over rajas and tamas, that movement is eliminating pride. Pride is creating inflated ego. So you have to understand what is pride and what is humility. In the beginning, you just do whatever your common sense tells you. As you advance, your common sense resonates with intuitive truth. So it becomes spontaneous to see the difference between egoism. Naturally, you will become more and more sincere, truthful, untouched by pleasure and pain, untouched by praise and censure, and will not feel limited because of your sincere opening of your heart. Sages and saints sincerely express, Mosam Kaun Kutil Kal Kami. Who is more crooked, more lustful, more dirty than me? Sages have said. Don't take it literally, because they are identifying with the problem of all humanity. So, this form of practice, this form of spiritual quality begins to develop, of sincerity, humility. Egoism, I have already explained. Sorrow, Other, how to handle sorrow. Every frustrating situation creates sorrow. But if you are persistent in your sadhana, day by day, you will become aware of a divine support behind you. Upadrashtanumantacha. God is watching over you. So you are not responsible for sorrowful happenings, but God is the source behind it, and there is a purpose behind it. And you are essentially divine. So this form of thinking corrects your sorrow, turns it into sunshine. But if you don't have this profounder knowledge, you go on correcting one sorrow after another, and that's endless movement. Fear, desire, pleasure, pain, these are the items that go to constitute bhava vyadhi, disease of the world process. Renounce this illusory world of duality and attain the realization of the non-dual self. Non-duality has to be understood. The ultimate truth doesn't end up in number. The absolute truth is infinity. It cannot be divided. Nothing can be added to it. Nothing can be multiplied by it. It's absolute. That state is called non-duality. Simple illustration is your dream and waking from your dream. In dream, there's so much multiplicity. Wake up, all the multiplicity of things, your dream past, dream present, dream future, your dream relatives, your dreams house, your dream biographies, all, nothing exists. You wake up to a non-dual state. Follow it in a profound way. That's the goal of life. To be awakened. All reflected suns must be awakened to realize, I am the sun. Be equally balanced in victory and defeat, gain and loss, pleasure and pain. This is called samadrishti, which is the basis of shama, serenity of mind. Always create room for inner peace. You don't create it, you are advanced, it becomes habitual. It becomes spontaneous. Because you do not believe in happiness in the realm of time and space. Happenings are making you happy. That's not real happiness. Happiness is your nature, not dependent upon happenings. Perform your duty. So having told about the illusion of the world and non-duality, Krishna ends up saying, perform your duty and resume the battle of life. That means follow the path of integral yoga. Live your life day by day, integrating the 4 yogas. You will attain Brahman because you are eventually the divine self. Your goal is attaining Brahman. But the term attaining is allegorical. You don't attain or gain anything. Knowing Brahman, you become Brahman. It's a revelation. O son of Kunti, develop the understanding that whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you pour as an oblation in a sacrifice, whatever you give as an act of charity, and whatever actions you perform in the future, all is Brahman, the divine self. Thus, develop the steadiness of intuitive vision, the description of Sthita Prajna. For easy understanding, think of having awakened a state while dreaming. Sometimes there is more sattva in your nature. So while you are dreaming, there comes a stage where suddenly an insight develops that it is a dream. And both consciousness stays. Awakened consciousness is slowly entering into it. Dream awareness becomes superficial. It becomes kind of a sport. So you continue your dream project. In dream you are climbing steps or climbing a tree. You may even be a monkey. Continue doing that. But with joyousness, because this is just a show. You are not involved in it. You are the soul, and the soul essentially is Brahman. And this vision, it becomes steady. Then it's called Sthita Prajna. And that's the goal of life. Even while you are alive, as if you are dreaming still. But your dream has become a divine leela, a divine sport. So you go through your karmas in a joyous way without creating new karmas. A person goes through whatever vision is intensified in his heart. This is an infallible law. You are always guided by your heart. So it is very important that satsanga must bring spiritual teaching deep in your heart until your heart has not been touched by the teaching. Your teaching will remain superficial. But even the being touched at your heart has progressive movement. What type of feeling have you developed in your heart? The climax of that feeling, the whole process is a bhakti movement. And the climax is para-bhakti. God alone is absolute love. And that God is I am. Once one has realized that an apparent snake is really nothing but a rope, he will not be affected by it, even if it continues to appear like a snake. Many times you have looked at shadows and have been in suspense and come to realize it is you that has become manifold. One shadow goes this way, another shadow goes that way. So even though you are seeing many shadows, still you are not deluded. In the same way, fructifying karmas do not affect a sage. All karmic fructifications are like shadows. A knower of the self, having become Brahman, continues to perform actions on the basis of his fructifying karmas. But these karmas are perceived by him as Brahman, the self. Therefore, O hero, do not become attached to action or inaction. Attached to action and inaction implies action being constantly involved, pursuing your whims and desires without any purpose. That's action. Inaction, suddenly develop your mind, I will not do anything. It's a wrong insight into the role of action and inaction. Profoundly speaking from profounder point of view, action is pravritti. Inaction is nivritti. Pravritti, that movement in your life that intensifies karmas, that's called pravritti. Nivritti, that which promotes purity of heart, eliminates malas, gross impurities, leads you through the Uttarayana movement to liberation. But the general problem is human mind is unable to understand the role of inaction and action. Each time a person is told, all this is false, illusion, then immediately you turn your attention away from things of responsibility. That now all this is illusion, I don't have to do that. That's a false type of inaction. And that's an act of ignorance. Do not become attached to the actions of your life. Neither should you become inactive. Be vigilant in promoting the vision of the self. Behold action in inaction, and inaction in action. First follow a little spiritual formula. Karma plus vikarma becomes akarma. How to move away from pravritti and enter to nivritti. Pravritti is karma. Karmas will go on, but blend your karma with vikarma. Vikarma means the whole process that purifies your heart and changes your attitude to action. In other words, if you are doing japa, study of scriptures, satsanga, swadhyaya, meditation, reflection, all these become vikarma. The term is used yajna. All yajna enters your personality, a process of sublimating negative vices into virtue. That movement, when karma blends with vikarma, same karma that you do, but blend it with your prayer, blend it with your sadhana in daily life. Now you end up with termination of karma. Your soul will not be guided by karmic law, but rather soul will have a revelation. Aham Brahmasmi. It is attachment which is called pravritti, action, by the wise. By attachment is meant involvement with the world of multiplicity, involvement with the world of karma. You don't want to leave out karma because you don't have the idea of what will happen. If you don't have the world, you don't have relatives, you don't have food to eat, etc., etc. And this points to the statement, dhyayato vishayan punsa sangasteshu pajayate. You go on thinking of objects of the world for your happiness, and you become more and more dependent upon those objects. I'm not going through the whole detail. So instead, continue to develop detachment, asanga. Liberation is climax of asanga. When detachment has become secure in your heart. Two-aspected movement, bhakti and jnana. Through bhakti, I am only an instrument of God. Jnana, I am that. Always remember the three aspects. Deha buddhyatu dasoham. From the point of the body, I am just a slave. So working in the world, like a slave who wants to please the boss. But slave and boss is totally in a different context. God is the boss. He is the most loving boss. So do everything that will please God. That should be the attitude to help the mind to remain relaxed and pursue the path of duty. Jiva buddhyatva danshaka. But from soul point of view, how much you are experiencing inner joy, inner strength, that movement is limitless because you have the capacity to grow in the image of God. So you are like a ray. Jiva buddhyat padanshaka. The point of view of our soul, you are like a ray. God is like the sun. So that internal relation never breaks. Atma buddhyat vayavaham. From the deepest point of view, Brahman alone is. One stays bound to action due to the dullness of his mind. Therefore, it is his dullness, this ignorance, which is the cause of all the evils of the world process. Manda buddhi, dull-wit intellect, is the cause of all troubles. Sadbuddhi, enlightened intellect, is a remedy. And with this I will conclude for today. Om Ram, 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 Ram. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shri Krishnaya Namah. Om Shri Krishnaya Namah. Om. Prayer for shower of Karunamaya Ras grace over all of you, with the blessings of Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukum Vabandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamrita. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.